Good Tuesday morning, everybody. This is Grace, and one of these days I'm going to tell a story about my Charlie Brown's Christmas tree. You see right here? It's a little off, isn't it? but I'll leave that as a mystery. But today I'm going to talk about what many of us probably heard at some point in our lives, that when it comes to presents, whether it's birthday or Christmas, whatever holiday, it's the thought that counts. And you probably heard that more than once, maybe not directly to you, more like a lesson, probably in childhood. Just like the whole family was told, it's the thought that counts. It's the thought that counts. And you learn, if somebody doesn't have money or something and they make you a present, you've seen movies maybe about that. That it's the thought that counts. That they were thinking of you, so they made this beautiful present or card or something. And it's the thought that counts. So, but what does that really mean if a certain situation comes from it? I'll be right back. Okay, when I was a child, this is part of this little mystery about the tree. We weren't allowed to celebrate Christmas in our home. My dad saw it as a pagan ritual, and therefore we were not allowed to have Christmas as Santa Claus and Christmas trees and Christmas lights, Christmas presents. We weren't allowed to at home. Next door lived my mother's parents, and that's where we were allowed to go to on Christmas morning and get our gifts that were bought, apparently, I'm guessing, by my mother, which is kind of confusing because my mother had what they call, pronounced these days as agoraphobia, and she did not like to leave the house at all. So, for anything. But she would basically buy groceries, but it was very difficult for her. I remember it being very difficult for her to leave. And she would always have at least one of us. We would, even if we were in school, one of her children, 5 children, would be with her when she went to the grocery store, and my grandmother. So, anyway, her mother. So we would go there and get our gifts and open them up and come back home with them and open them up. But we weren't allowed to call them Christmas gifts. Okay. And they were in Christmas wrapping paper. But the gifts, okay, if it's the thought that counts, my gifts every year, I can remember a few of them, and this continued on through my adulthood. They did not match me at all. My personality, anything about me, such as like I have chemical allergies. I do not wear perfumes, cologne, perfume. And I can remember one time getting one that probably cost them all of $1 at like a dollar store. And my siblings, however, they would get gifts that they loved, nice gifts. And I would get something like from a dollar store and did not match me at all. Like I just said. I'm pointing that out year after year. So what was the thought that was counting there? So, yeah, it wasn't like they didn't have the money to do it. It was that they didn't do it. I think, to me, more, it was that I was an afterthought. Oh, we forgot her, so we better go run and get something at the dollar store, kind of thing. I'll be back. My dogs are barking. And while I'm on this subject about allergies, them buying me a perfume or cologne or whatever. I didn't know that when I was a child that I had allergies. It was just always that I had a cold. That my mother, like I said, with her agoraphobia, she didn't want to even drive to the doctors. I'm surprised that I survived childhood. I remember playing on an old sofa and a spring got in my leg. Still to this day, whenever the weather changes, sometimes I'll feel it. So it got really bad infected. I had to have a tetanus shot and all this kind of stuff. I could have died. It was so huge. The whole, well, as a child, the whole leg, seems huge. Infection, yeah. So it was the thought that counts. But my mother did suffer from postpartum depression after she had me. I was the 4th child out of 5, and she suffered after the 5th child. But after the 5th child, she took care of her. She didn't take care of me. Never in my life did she ever take care of me. Now, she was not a mother to me. She was my mother, biological mother, but no. So anyway, she just didn't want to have anything to do with me. Now, when I'm not feeling sorry for myself, this is just matter of fact. Now, I want no contact with my family. But, you know, a few years ago. But before then, in every Christmas, um, it was always the same kind of thing. Like I can remember one time, the younger one, she was the golden child, and she got. I remember, I still have it. It was a TV, and it was. We were all adults, and she got a TV. It was $700 for the TV, and I have it now. I had used it when my mother had dementia, and I was taking care of her. I had just moved, and that sister brought that TV over, and I still have that TV out in the garage, like I said. But I used it because my mother wanted to watch TV. And anyway, she got a Christmas tree for $700. I got something that was probably, like I say, from a dollar store. And the other siblings were, you know, they would get things, but they would think that it was right for the younger golden child to get the better stuff. You know, they were more like flying monkeys. I was both the scapegoat behind the scenes, I mentioned before. I didn't know that I was, and the forgotten child, you know. So, as an adult, once my father passed away in 1996, I believe, or 95, my gifts got worse. The gifts I got from, we were adults at that time. Okay. So my gifts got worse as I got an adult. As an adult, my dad had passed away, and my siblings just would ensure that my gifts, they would actually buy the gifts for my mother to give to everybody, and they ensured that mine were awful. Okay, continued this pattern. And one year, next door to my mom, I had rental property to where she lived, and I lived hours away. And she would get the rent money from, you know, the residents, and I would give her some of it, and she would send the rest to me. Well, one time I didn't get it for a couple of months. And I went to find out why, and it was that my siblings had decided that that was the money that they would use to buy themselves Christmas presents. Okay, 2 months of rent. I threw a fit. They said that's how it is. It's, you know, that our mother took care of that property, and therefore it was her money, and she didn't take care of the property. All she did was get the check and send it and mail it to me. Yeah. And they were going to buy Christmas presents. Of course, they bought themselves Christmas presents. And of course, I got Dollar Tree, Dollar Store, Dollar General, whatever dollar they could get. Or even one sibling actually made me, what are those things called? You know, the little, you know, you make them with sticks and yarn. Yeah. So it could have been that year. I don't remember. But at one point, I stopped going. I stopped going to Christmas with the family, and you know, I mentioned that I went. I would say I disowned them. You know, you don't own anybody, but I would say I disowned my family during the holidays. But another sibling, the younger one, would get the presents that I got from, you know, the other ones and give them to me. Always bizarre stuff, and she would keep some of them. And years later, I found out that the older sister was giving everybody gift cards, like $100, and other presents. And I found out from one of my nieces that they were keeping these cards every year so they could spend them themselves. So yeah, it's the thought that counts, right? It's the thought that counts. I don't want to ever hear that again in my life, you know, really. But like I said, I've gone no contact. Still, I'm re-triggered, I should say, not triggered for these flashbacks and thoughts, but re-triggered. I want to talk about re-triggering in stages also of going through narcissistic abuse kind of, you know, recovery. Yeah, because, you know, you might go through a stage and it comes back. Anyway, this is enough for this one, and you know what? I'm about to go to the Dollar Tree. Yeah, kind of funny, isn't it? But I have things I need to buy, like soft soap and stuff. Anyway, I'll talk to y'all later. Not Christmas presents. Nope. I don't do that kind of thought that counts to anybody. Talk to y'all later. Bye.